Hello, everybody. Sila here from Kardec, UK. Today is the 2nd of February 2024, and today we're going to start going over chapter 3 of the book of the Gospel according to the Spiritsm. So, shall we start? Not much time to waste, isn't? So, I have a pre-reading of the chapter as I'm getting more acquaintance to doing this. I find out that reading less, explaining more is better. It's not so boring for anybody. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right. So the chapter starts telling us, "In my Father's house are many mansions." Something that was said by Jesus, in reference to God Himself. So let me read a quick part from the Bible, from the Gospel. It says, "1. Let know your heart to be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. I'm in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also." So it's John 14, 1, 3. So it's very complicated to explain just parts from the gospel, I think, because the language they use is very old language. So for many of us is, so I'll try to simplify as much as I can. So what they're talking about is one of the things is the different states of soul and spiritual wonders. So everybody's different, everybody's in a certain degree. However, in the Spiritism, we believe when they say different mansions, different many mansions, they mean worlds. So planet Earth being a world. And when they say the Father house, God's house, we believe they talk about the universe. And when they talk about the universe, it doesn't mean only planets. We can be talk about planets, dimensions, astral cities. For example, take a little bit out of this book, out of context here, and going to spiritualists and mainly talk about Kardec in future books, especially from Chico Xavier in Brazil. We believe today that Chico Xavier was a reincarnation of Allan Kardec, so he wrote more than 400, I think 500 books. And one of the books is called Astral City, which is, it became a movie, actually. There is a movie about the book, there's a movie. And what they believe is that, because the city of Rio de Janeiro, they believe on top there is another dimension, is called umbral, which is where the spirits of people, the souls of people that passed, and they are not in the good level, or they go there to recuperate themselves. But basically, there's just a spiritual place, and is a dimension which is just up above Rio de Janeiro. We cannot see, of course, because our spirits is our energy, is everything is made of energy. But we can imagine that there is other planets and there is other forms of lives, material or non-material, and therefore that's what they call the many mansions, the different places. Anyways, following through, I'm just gonna read a little bit here. So the house of my Father is the universe. The different mansions are the worlds, which circulate the infinity space and offer the spirits who incarnate on them dwelling places which correspond to their progress. So, separating everything, like I say, Astral City is that place in particular above Rio de Janeiro, is a place for spirits that need to, it's almost like, for what I understand, what I want to say is rehab. When you go to rehab, sorry, put this away, and you're there to get your strength back until you're back to a certain level to see where you're gonna go. It's almost like that. That's what they're talking about. That is the so, but when you're living on Earth, that's what I'm gonna explain for you. So, according to chapter 3, there are different categories of inhabited worlds. So first, they go according to the degree of, I'm so sorry. They go according to the degree of elevation or inferiority of their inhabitants. So people that live on the planets, I'm just gonna turn this off. There we go. I have another one. I have to. Let's be present. All right. So, of course, the next question is, what kind of level is planet Earth? Of course, we want to know. We live here. So I'm gonna jump in straight to that is intermediate words. Good. In the intermediate words is a mixture of good and evil. One of the other predominating according to the degree of advancement of majority of the inhabitants. Although it's not possible to make an absolute classification of the different worlds, we can at least divide them into general terms by virtue of the states in which they are in, and the destiny they bring in with them based on the most predominant features upon each planet in the following manner. Primitive words. Primitive words are destined to receive the initial incarnations of human souls. So here we're just talking about humans. We're not going to talk about other species or aliens or souls. We're just going to talk about humanity. So it's really easy to imagine these primitive worlds. These primitive worlds would be like the primates in this planet, like the cave woman, that kind of Stone Age kind of thing. So imagine how life was. You don't have a long life to start with. You have to hunt your food every day. You have to supply heating. You have to do light. You have to. It's a very harsh life, and that's the beginning of, how you start developing. So that is other words. They are like that. And one example of this in the Spiritism is planet Chiron. They believe is another planet that is primitive, and that's where you go. Let's say you've been really awful here in this life, and you disincarnate, and you go to this planet. You incarnate again this planet Chiron to, pay for your sins or learn and grow there. So you're going to start again from primitive words and just incarnate, disincarnate, come and go until your spirit start building up it. So and planet Earth is considered medium level, or let me see here what I have my notes. Okay, intermediate words. Good is mixed with evil. One of our other predominant according to the degree of advancement to the majority of the inhabitants. So it's a mix and match of good and evil. Pretty much like Earth here, we have a lot of good people, a lot of people that want to do good, but we also have wars, we also have misunderstood, we have people mistreating others, we have rich, poor, we have, we live in the material world, planet Earth's material, so of course in Spiritism we don't blame you you want to be rich or you want to work hard for this, but also we believe that richness or poorness can work in different ways. Like sometimes you're poor and you have different suffering and different things that you have to go through in life, but also if you reach, you have a lot of responsibility of dealing. How are you going to deal with that finance you have? How are you going to distribute that? Are you going to be selfish and use everything, or are you going to help others? So it's either way is tough. It doesn't mean being rich is easy. It might look like easy, but spiritually talking, it cannot be that easy. Anyways, falling through. So we live in this world that is just balance between evil, and then there is other worlds more advanced, which are, let me see, they are words of when they reach the maximum degree of advancement in the world has to offer. They sorry, they're talking about spirits here in this paragraph I just highlighted, so I'm gonna read for you. Spirits, when they reach the maximum degree of advancements in the world has to offer, they then pass on to a more elevated one, and so successively until they reach the stage of purified spirits. So, as I talk about Chiron, the planet that I know is a planet that is is a primitive. If you're here on planet Earth and you're a very good person and you have your, you pass through everything you have to pass, and you got an A+, that means you're ready for the next level of planet, which I don't know which one is. Sorry. That is, if you follow Spiritism, there's a lot of explanation, other books about it, but I don't know what's the next one. I'm not worried about it. I just want to do good here and then deal with this later. Anyways, moving on. Earth's destiny, cause, and human misery. Oh yeah, I just said that, but I forgot about. So, let me read. Many are surprised that on Earth there is so much badness, so much crude passions, so many miseries, and every kind of sickness. From this, they conclude that human species is a very miserable one. This judgment comes from a very narrow point of view of those who emit it, which gives a false idea of the whole. Must consider, however, that in actual fact, the entirety of humanity is not all Earth, but only a small fraction of the total. In effect, the human species covers all those endowed with reason, how inhabit the innumerable orbs of the universe. So like I say, lots. Then I highlight this. The material and moral situation of terrestrial humanity is not surprising when we take into consideration the destiny of the earth and the mature of its inhabitants. So, what it is now, okay, I'm gonna try to explain the best I can. It's not all here in this book, but is now we dive into other books and other things. According to Joanna de Angelis, the spirits of Joanna de Angelis, which was brought through Chico Xavier again in Brazil, which we believe is the reincarnation of Allan Kardec, or Professor Rivall. In 2006, explained to us that the planet Earth is going to be going through is being into regeneration, and it's going to last until 2057. And what it is, we know this because there is parts written on the Book of Spirits, and there is parts written in the post books of Chico Xavier. So basically, we are in regeneration for an intermediate world to a better, more purified world. So what's happening, and for what I understand, has been going on since the Second World War, is that when we disincarnate, now depending on our spiritual level, we reincarnate here on Earth, or we reincarnate in this place called Chiron that I talk about, which is a word that will develop after millions of years, like planet Earth, but it's still behind us. It's very primitive. So now, it's being studies that show that all this change happening on our planet, like um all the polarity of the world, all these wars and all just fighting between evil and good is happening because we are in transition. So now is the time that you really wanna do your best, basically, and this is pretty much what is happening. There's another we believe there is an order of good spirits incarnating in the next few years, really elevate spirits to help us on this transition. But yet there is spirits that don't wanna the planet to transit. So that's why it's just fighting and just, I don't know if you can feel this polarity living in the days of today. We feel there's no middle ground is really bad or good, or even in politics is either this or that. So it's crazy, isn't it? But that's what this book tries to explain. Now we are moving to on the next level. So this is what happened, and I know a lot of people feel, and other people, I mean, let's face it, we've been to pandemic, we have wars, we have it never been so bad, isn't, like we have crazy immigration, we have people dying trying to cross the ocean, which probably always happened, but at this point we have super rich people while somebody else is dying in hunger on the street next to us. We became to normalize, to not do anything, to observe and not interfere with, because it's scary. We don't know who we're dealing with. So understandably it is a very scary word. And even the spirits in other in more recently studies say it never been so bad, planet Earth never been so bad in that way, in the aspect. So yes, that's because we are transitioning to a better world. So now it's like there's no more time, there's no more reincarnation, another chance to do it right. If you don't do right, you either go down to Kira or you reincarnate here, but you have to get it right. This is the time, and yeah. So let's moving on because it's a lot. So that's what I was trying to explain to you. I hope it makes sense. If you have any questions, please send me a message or a comment and I'll try to explain this better, okay? So let me just see. The next is instructions from the spirits, inferior and superior words. Okay, I'm just gonna read a little of each so you can get the grasps. In qualifying inferior and superior words, there is nothing absolute. A word is relatively inferior or superior only in relation to those words which may be above or below it on the scale of progression. In talking the earth as a comparison, we may give the idea that what an inferior word is like by supposing us inhabitants to the similar to the primitive races or members of the barbaric nations, examples of which are still to be found among us today, this being the remainders of the primitive state of this planet. In the most backward words, the inhabitants are, to a certain extent, rudimentary creatures having human form but devoid to all beauty. Their instincts have not yet softened and any sediment of delicacy or benevolence, nor have they acquired nor any notions of justice or injustice. Then we have in words which have reached the superior level, the moral and material state is very different from that which is existing on earth. As everywhere, the form is always human, but is more beautiful, more perfect, and above all else purified. The body possesses nothing of the earthly materials and consequently is not subject to the same necessities, sickness, and deteriorations which the predominancy of matter provokes. Due to the higher refinements, the senses are able to capture perceptions which the gross matter of this world obstructs. So, yeah, to talk about bodies, I heard that that's why when you see spirits, people that have the divinity of seeing spirits, um, some see as a body because they manifest the way, but if you see on this pure state, I think for say you just see a light around a form, but you don't really see a body because they don't have a body. They don't have the material and this denseness to deal with, you know. All right. The specific lightness of the body permits rapid and easy locomotion. Instead of dragging painfully after the ground, the body floats as it were above the surface or glides through air with no effort apart from that of the desire, just as the angels are depicted as doing, or as the manes of Elysian fields. Okay, so then they talk about very advanced spirits, which I'm just going to skip, but you can read on the book. Pretty much just talk about how everything is amazing to the point that we cannot even understand. So that's where we want to be, all right? So people in these places are in this level, they're always friendly. They don't. There's no masters or no slaves. They just teach. For example, if somebody knows something the other people don't know, they just teach the others for the merely happiness of doing so. There is no jealousy. There is no. Therefore, it says here, all the body receives and deserves the respect of everyone. Authorities, sorry, as it only gives those to merit. It is only given to those who merit it, and is therefore always exercised with justice. Man does not try to elevate himself above another, but only above himself by striving for perfection. So it's not competition. Nobody needs to compete and put others down. No jealousy. The ties of love and brotherhood hinge all humanity each to others, so that the strong help the weak. So this is pretty much what will be in the perfect elevate state. Why do we have evil on planet Earth? So there's a quick explanation. Evil is still needed in your world in order to make known goodness, night in order to be able to admire the light, sickness so that you can be able to appreciate your health. In those words, there is no need of the contracts. Eternal light, eternal beauty, and eternal serenity of the soul offer proportional eternal happiness, free from perturbations caused by the anguish of material life and the contact with evil creatures who find no access to these realms. Alright, so this is on the words. Okay, words of test of atonement. What more to say about words of atonement that you don't already know, since you have only to look at the one in which you live? We don't have another examples, do we? The great number of superior intelligences among your inhabitants indicates that the earth is not a primitive world destined to receive beings who have recently left the hands of the Creator. The innate qualities which they bring with them constitute the proof of their having already lived and achieved a certain degree of progress. But the number of vices to which they are subject also shows their great moral imperfections. This is why God has placed them in an ungrateful world, in which they can make atonement through heavy work and the suffering of miseries of life until they deserve to ascend to a planet. Nevertheless, not all spirits who have incarnated on earth came to atone. The races which called savage were formed from spirits who had only just left their infancy and who found themselves as it were on a educational course for development through contact with more advanced spirits. So what I understood here is that pretty much they're talking about, like I say, Chiron, for example, is a planet that is primitive. So people that are doing really, really well in Chiron, like reincarnate on Earth now, it's not because they're bad. It's just because they are actually on the progress. So it might look to us like they are, oh my God, just spirits, just bad. Look what he's doing. You know, he's gonna go to Kira. Maybe they're just come from Kira and reincarnating here, you know. So our job is to help everybody no matter what, because we don't know if they're coming from Kira, they need help to progress. If they are possibly going back to Kira, they need everybody's help to stay in the scale they were before. So it's still charity, charity to others. I'm not talking about financial charity, I'm talking about helping others, spreading this masterpiece of work that explain our life in this planet. This helps many people. That's why I'm here, trying to help many people watching and to get grasps with life itself. Many people suffering, many people that want to do harm to themselves or anything like that. This is what you need, so maybe can help you come out of the situation. It's just a situation, will pass, just momentarily. Anyways, going back. Oh wow, they talk about regenerating worlds, which is our case here. Okay, I'm gonna read the whole thing. Among the many incitating stars in the blue canopy of the sky, how many worlds there is like yours, destined by God to serve for atonement and probation. But although there are some that are more miserable, there are also the others that are happier, like those of transition, which being called words of regeneration, which is us. Good news. Each planetary vortex moving into space round a common center drags with its own primitive words of exile, probation, regeneration, and happiness. We have spoken to you of words where newly born spirits are placed, when they are still ignorant of both God, good and evil, but where they have the possibility of traveling towards God, being in the possession of themselves through free will. We have also revealed to you the fact that ample faculties are given to each soul to enable it to practice good. But alas, there are those who succumb. So God, who does not desire their humiliation, permits that they go to these worlds where from one incarnation to another they are purified and regenerate, returning worth of the glory for which they were destined. So those words, reincarnation, as you know, is to improve ourselves, is the school where we learn to be better souls. Regenerate words serve as a transition phases between those of probation and happiness. The penitent soul finds calm and rest on them and can continue to purify and process beyond doubt. Man still finds himself subject to the laws that rule matter. Humanity still experience the sensations and desires, but is liberated from the ungoverned passions to which you are slaves, freed from pride which silences the heart, envy which tortures and hate which suffocates. On all sides, the word love is written. Perfect equity resides over all social relationships. Everyone recognizes God as tries to travel in his direction by fulfilling his laws. However, perfect happiness still does not exist in these words, only the drawing of happiness. The man is still of flesh and blood, and because of this, subject to sorry guys, vicissitudes from which only the completely dematerialized beings are liberated. So we talk about our bodies and spirits. There's a lot of things that you only will have or understand when you don't have a material body. This is there is something that we have a veil over our mind. So when we are incarnate in this world, we have this veil. One, we cannot remember past lives, we cannot remember our experience. We can feel as is imprinting in your soul things you have to do, and you have just general sense of goodness or badness, but you try to be good, but yet you don't remember what happened in past lives or planets you lived before, anything, because if you did remember, this will maybe you will not be genuinely trying to be nice or grow. You will be just, oh, I did this in the past, oh my god, I cannot do that, it's gonna look bad, like it's not genuine. So we don't have that capacity. I mean, most of us don't. There's a lot of people that do. And here so being here, not knowing what we've done, when we practice charity, we're doing for our hearts and not from because, oh, the last life I was so bad, now I have to do double the work. Or it's not like you're not doing because you're supposed to, you're doing just because it's your own goodness. And that's fulfilling the God's laws. So yeah, in a sense, this is what I have to read for you guys today. I really advise you guys to read the book. I'm just trying to explain, but it's just a brush through explanation. So for the people that are reading, they can come to this video and understand a little bit better. And believe me, I'm getting better on this as I do those videos as well, because like I say, I've been away from spiritual learning for many years, over 20 years, and now I'm coming back and catch back because I've been my mentor gave me a shake up, and now I'm back and I'm trying to recap everything and pass on here in English for the English speaking people. And it's really funny because I'm going back to what I learned back in the day in Brazil, when everybody talks about that. Everybody is very common, it's very natural studies and natural thing to do in Brazil. You grew up with spiritualism really close to you, you see things every day. But I feel that living in the United States or here in England now is not things that I heard about, is actually taken as, oh my god, no, we don't talk about that. And it's not, it's just part of life itself. And knowledge is power, and this is knowledge, and this explains things that church, the priests read to you, but you kind of don't understand. This is not to take anybody away from church, this is to add up and make you believe even more in your religion, because you have a background. And this is what I do this on YouTube videos here, is because I want everybody to think about their lives. And everybody goes, when you're going through a rough time, I want you to remember these things here and reach out Allan Kardec and Spiritsm and read, because you're gonna understand it's just a passage. It's just a passage. Once you pass this, you're gonna be better. Do you have to be patient. Yes, you have to be patient. You have to move on. You have to do things to change the situation. Yes, you do. But then you also understand that you are going through something that was pre-planned for you to go through, and you accept that before you incarnated. That was in your plan. So you are doing for that because you want to do that to repay all your sins or all your mistakes from other lives. So it will pass. It will pass, but you have to go through that. And it's nothing you cannot take because that's what you chose for you, for your life. So yes, we can make better, but we also can understand why we are more patient to our own selves, and we will not make mistakes, irreversible mistakes in this life, and we will be much better. All right, okay, I hope everybody understands. Sorry about my bad English and my bad accent and my bad reading. But I hope something good came out of that. All right, thanks everybody, and like I say, send me a message, send your question. I will try to do the best I can. Maybe I'm not gonna be able to respond, maybe I will have to translate something for you, but I will do my best. All right, take care, bye.